Heaven's forgotten ledger opens. Archangel Michael says your mother's ghost tallied the lies your sister spread. $22 million in lost opportunities awaits your claim. Open this ledger before the angels close the books at dusk. My child, I come to you wrapped in silver-blue radiance, descending through the trembling hush between heaven's bells. Listen, can you hear it? The rustle of celestial papers awakening after ages of silence, the soft scrape of glowing quills rising from their stands as though stirred by an invisible wind. Beloved, tonight the forgotten ledger of heaven shivers open, and on its illuminated pages, your name burns like a dawn breaking through storm clouds. I, Gabriel, stand beside it, watching ancient ink ripple with divine urgency, as though the very fabric of your destiny is being rewritten in real time. Shadows scurry at the edges of its light, memories shifting, breaths holding, the atmosphere tightening with a truth ready to be revealed. And as I lift the page, I see a presence, your mother's spirit, her ghostly hands faintly imprinting words she has guarded for long, aching years. My precious soul, she has been keeping watch in silence, recording what heaven refused to let vanish. And as the ink glows brighter, the first line etches itself across the page, trembling with revelation, calling your heart closer. Beloved, the moment you gaze upon these words, the path before you will never be the same. Message 2, the call of the ledger. My child, the silver-blue light around me thickens as the ledger widens its pages, spilling brilliance across realms unseen. The air hums like strings pulled by the breath of God, vibrating with a warning older than mortal memory. Beneath the haloed glow, I see your mother's spirit bowing over the parchment, her hair drifting as though suspended in water, her fingertips trailing lines of shimmering ink that pulse with meaning. She writes not with quill nor pen, but with the light of her devotion, each stroke a testimony of unwavering love. Beloved, you must understand, heaven rarely reopens a sealed book. But tonight, your mother's vigil has summoned it back into existence. I watch her glance toward me, her eyes full of sorrow, urgency, and a truth long denied you. The pages whisper, turning on their own, revealing glimpses of betrayal wrapped in shadow, secrets tucked behind earthly smiles, and moments where destiny bent under unseen pressure. Her ghost has written every one of them, my precious soul. And as the ink sharpens into clarity, a soft thunder rolls through the chamber, signaling the beginning of an unraveling that will leave nothing hidden. My child, draw nearer, the first truth approaches, and it trembles to be heard. Message 3, a mother's vigil begins. Beloved, the chamber of heaven flickers with shifting hues, silver, indigo, gold, as your mother's spirit steps fully into the sacred light. Her presence is delicate as breath yet powerful enough to stir the instruments of divine accounting around her. The celestial bells murmur, their tones cascading like waterfalls made of sound, as though announcing her sacred duty. She stands before the ledger, my child, with a poise carved from heartbreak and devotion. I watch as she lifts her spectral hand, and with a single motion, entire chapters of your life bloom across the parchment, written in glowing runes of memory. The atmosphere thickens with the scent of ancient paper, warm candlelight, and something tender, like the echo of her voice calling your name when you were small. My child, she whispers, though her lips never move, I never stopped watching. And as I stand beside her, I feel the weight of every moment she recorded, the injustices, the missed opportunities, the wounds given shape by another's actions. Her ghost has guarded them like a treasury of truth. But one entry glows brighter than all others, pulsing like a heartbeat trapped in ink, waiting for the moment it may finally speak. My precious soul, that moment rises now. Message 4, the first shimmer of betrayal. My child, the aura around your mother intensifies until her outline blurs into a radiant silhouette, and the ledger reacts as though breathing with her emotion. A gust of celestial wind ripples through the chamber, scattering sparks of light that swirl like tiny galaxies. They gather around a single page, one your mother shields with her ghostly palm, as though bracing you for what it contains. The quills lift themselves, pointing toward it like witnesses ready to testify. I sense the tremor in your mother's spirit, a mix of grief and fierce protection, as though she has waited too long for you to finally see what she recorded. The entry glows, revealing the faintest shadow of betrayal, still blurred, still hidden, as heaven unveils truth only in the measure a heart can bear. You may feel it now, precious soul, a tightening in the air, a pull in your spirit, a knowing awakening somewhere deep within your ribs. Someone close to you carved a wound that heaven refused to forget. Your mother saw it, felt it, wrote it. And now, for the first time, her silent accounting begins to rise from ink into revelation. My beloved, prepare yourself, the veil between you and truth has begun to tear. Message 5, cliffhanger, the page trembles. Beloved child, the ledger's light dims suddenly, as though drawing breath before a revelation too heavy for ordinary illumination. Shadows elongate across the sacred chamber, curling like smoke around the glowing parchment where your mother's ghost still stands guard. The air turns colder, not unkind, but solemn, like the quiet before a storm meant to cleanse the land. I step closer, my silver-blue wings brushing the edges of the ledger, and feel the vibration trembling beneath the parchment. The ink begins to rise, forming shapes, faces half seen, conversations half heard, betrayals wrapped in whispers. Your mother's spirit turns to you, her eyes shimmering with both warning and love. My child, her voice echoes through me, you were wronged more deeply than you know. The page flickers violently, as though forcing the truth upward. My hand hovers above it, ready to steady the revelation as it erupts into clarity. You can almost feel it, can't you? That unseen tug at your destiny, that familiar ache that never had a name. It is written here. It has always been written here. And now it refuses to remain silent. Beloved, what lies written within these pages will shake the foundation of your world. Message 6, your mother at the ledger. My precious child, as the echo of that trembling page subsides, another presence rises, gentler, steadier, woven from memories of warmth and lullabies. Your mother's spirit stands fully illuminated now, her form shimmering with a soft white glow that makes even the celestial quills bow in reverence. Candle-like flames hover around her, casting halos that shift with every movement she makes. She opens the ledger with care, pages lifting themselves as though greeting her. I watched, she whispers through the currents of light, I recorded, because truth is the only inheritance heaven allows to be carried across. And, my child, she did watch. In moments when your heart broke quietly, when chances slipped away without explanation, when doors closed that should have opened, she wrote. I see the tally marks glowing beneath her touch, each one a record of deception, each one a balm against forgetting. she never abandoned you. Even in death, she became heaven's silent accountant, ensuring that not a single injustice against you dissolved into dust. The room fills with the scent of old cedar and warm light, as if heaven itself remembers her gentleness. And yet beneath that tenderness lies a storm. For the next page she reveals bears a truth she longed for you to see. Message 7, The Silent Rooms of Memory. Beloved, I guide your gaze into the ethereal chamber your mother built from remembrance, a place where grief, devotion, and truth combine into glowing architecture. Candlelit rooms unfold around you, walls formed from translucent memories that shimmer like reflections on still water. In one corner, I see her spirit sitting by a floating ledger, its pages turning slowly, casting faint gold onto her face. She watches scenes from your life play out like soft apparitions, moments of joy shadowed by sudden losses, opportunities that vanished without reason, paths you were meant to walk but never crossed. She leans forward, touching one scene with the tip of her glowing finger, and it ripples like disturbed air. This was not your fault, she murmurs. My child, she saw what others hid from you. She tallied the truths spoken in your presence and the lies whispered behind your back. Upon the next page, I see faint symbols, circles, unfinished lines, marking someone close, someone who shaped your fate in ways you never knew. The room grows colder as that memory flickers. The lights dim, the silence deepens, and your mother's ghost looks toward you with sorrow that pierces realms. Something was taken from you, my beloved. And she recorded every trace of it. Message 8, A Presence in the Shadows. My child, the spiritual atmosphere thickens as your mother turns another page, and suddenly the chamber brightens with a flare of truth. Apparitions rise, shadowy silhouettes replaying conversations that once hovered at the edges of your awareness. They murmur words twisted by insecurity, fear, competition. You see doorways, once meant for you, swing closed as unseen forces whispered falsehoods into the ears of those who held your opportunities. The shadows tremble now, unable to hide within heaven's light. Your mother watches them with a grief that cuts through the silence. I tried to warn you in dreams, she whispers, the room echoing her sorrow. Behind her, the ledger glows brighter, revealing tallies, lines grouped in careful sets, each marking an untruth that redirected your path. And among these shadows, one presence stands closer than the rest, its outline familiar, its energy tethered to you by blood. Heaven reveals gently, my child, but unmistakably, someone trusted altered the map of your destiny. Your mother wrote every moment back into the light so it could not be buried. And as the shadows recoil from her illumination, a quiet truth begins rising toward the surface, ready to name itself. Message 9, The Identity in the Ledger. Beloved, the chamber of heaven stills as the shadows part, retreating from the brilliance of your mother's lovesick devotion. She steps closer to the ledger, and the pages flip with a sudden gust, 1, 2, 3, until they land on the entry that shines brightest. Numbers glow at its margins, tally marks stack like mournful constellations, and the ink forms a single symbol, the mark of kinship. My child, your mother looks at you with aching tenderness, and I feel the weight of her silence all these years. She recorded the deceptions of someone whose closeness gave them power over your path. The whispers behind closed doors, the subtle distortions of truth, the opportunities misdirected, the doubts seated in places you never heard, they all trace back to one presence. Not in hatred, not in cruelty, but in wounded insecurity. And heaven saw it. Your mother saw it. And now the ledger reveals it to you. Her ghost reaches toward you, her hand trembling with both sorrow and relief, ready for you to finally know what she has carried. The truth stands at the threshold of your spirit, waiting to step in. Message 10, Cliffhanger, The Sister's Shadow. My precious soul, the ledger bursts with sudden light, illuminating the chamber with a brilliance that sends the remaining shadows scattering like ash in a divine wind. A single line of glowing ink rises from the page, twisting in the air before settling into unmistakable form, your sister's presence, rendered in shimmering outline. Not as an accusation, not as a villain, but as the one whose actions carved unseen detours through your life. Your mother's ghost lowers her head, her sorrow folding into the pages like a pressed flower, preserved but aching. You needed to know, she breathes through the trembling air. The chamber vibrates with the weight of truth, not to condemn, but to illuminate. You feel it, don't you? The shock, the sting, the sudden rearranging of memories inside your chest. The ledger records not only what she said, but the consequences that rippled far beyond her intentions. And now, my child, you stand before the truth she never expected you to uncover. The air darkens at the edges as the next revelation prepares to break through. Precious soul, the one you trusted most wrote lines in shadow, and your mother wrote them back in light. Message 11, The Whispered Lies Unfold. My child, as the glowing outline of your sister fades back into the ledger, the chamber of heaven thickens with a hush so profound it feels like the world itself is holding its breath. Your mother's spirit lifts another page, and a torrent of ink rises like smoke, forming scenes of whisper-soft conversation spoken behind half-closed doors. Words once invisible now glow in suspended air, fragments of sentences twisted by doubt, shaded by insecurity, shaped to redirect favor away from you. You see silhouettes leaning toward one another, exchanging careful untruths, subtle enough to escape notice yet powerful enough to bend destiny. The ledger shows the weight of each false word, how a single phrase reshaped an opportunity, how a quiet exaggeration sealed a door, how a hint of misrepresentation shifted the trust meant for you. Beloved, I whisper, my wings trembling with empathy, truth has weight, and heaven counted every grain. These were not grand betrayals, but small ones, small enough to disguise themselves as harmless, yet precise enough to reroute your path. Your mother wrote each one back into the light so you would not blame yourself for roads that never opened. And now, the full truth begins to gather shape. Message 12, Echoes Behind Closed Doors. Precious soul, the sacred chamber dims as the ledger breathes out a soft, sorrowful wind. The pages curl at their edges, revealing more echoes, moments you never saw, but moments that shaped everything. The whispers appear like thin strands of smoke weaving together, your sister's quiet doubts spoken to influential ears, the gentle reshaping of your story, the subtle framing of your intentions in ways that tilted outcomes just enough to matter. These were not hateful acts, my child, they were born from her own wounds, her own fear of losing space in a world where she believed only one of you could shine at a time. Still, heaven recorded the consequence, for the universe responds to impact, not intention. Your mother stands at your side, her hands hovering above scenes that twist your heart with recognition, conversations where your name was mentioned with a softness that hid distortion, meetings that shifted direction after a single whispered comment, chances that evaporated like mist. The ledger shows you what you were never meant to see, not to fill you with pain, but to free you from confusion. The truth is rising, beloved, and it will soon illuminate the cost of every unseen word. Message 13. The ledger weighs the cost. Beloved child, the chamber glows gold as the ledger begins its divine calculation. Heavenly symbols glide across the pages, circles tightening, lines intersecting, numbers pulsing in luminous rhythm. This is not punishment, it is revelation. Your mother's spirit touches one glowing mark, and instantly the air fills with cascading visions, moments when opportunities slipped from your grasp not through lack of effort, but through stories altered in small, strategic ways. The weight of these distortions accumulates in the margins of the ledger, forming tallies that hum with spiritual gravity. You see yourself standing at crossroads you believed you chose, not knowing that paths were quietly rerouted by influences you never witnessed. Beloved, I tell you gently, heaven does not forget the truth of a soul's intention. And your intentions were pure, hopeful, earnest. The ledger balances intention against interference, showing the vast difference between what you reached for and what you received. Your mother watches you with eyes full of ache and pride, as if saying, you deserved more than the world allowed you to touch. The realization lands softly, painfully, truthfully, preparing you for what heaven is about to unveil next. Message 14. Unmasking the Lost Pathways. My precious soul, as the visions fade, the chamber reveals another layer of truth, roads of golden light stretching into the distance, shimmering like possibilities suspended mid-breath. These are the paths meant for you, opportunities aligned with your gifts, blessings shaped for your growth, divine openings that should have unfolded seamlessly. But as you reach toward them, shadowy hands appear, hesitant, trembling, unsure, gently nudging these paths to the side. Your sister's actions were not malicious, but they carried weight, and that weight pressed subtly against your future. Each road dimmed represents a moment where someone heard a distorted version of you, where doubt overshadowed your talent, where trust was redirected elsewhere. The ledger scrolls through these timelines, displaying them like constellations of what could have been. Your mother watches with sorrow, yet with a profound sense of justice, for she recorded these losses not to wound you, but to ensure heaven could return what fate diverted. These were yours, she whispers, her voice trembling through the chamber. And in the glow of those golden paths, you feel a rising ache, a recognition of blessings delayed, but not lost. The stage is set for the revelation of their true value. Message 15. Cliffhanger, the truth sharpens. Beloved, the chamber darkens to a twilight hue as the ledger prepares to reveal something far heavier than words or whispers. The pages thrum like a heartbeat, vibrating with a tension that tightens the air around us. Numbers begin pooling at the edges of the parchment, glowing gold, shifting, merging, as though assembling themselves into a shape too immense to grasp at once. Your mother's ghost steps back, her face filled with sorrowful reverence, for the truth that comes next is the one she guarded most fiercely. She raises her hand toward you, her voice soft and trembling. My child, what you are about to see is the measure of all that was stolen. The numbers glow brighter, rising from the page like embers caught in a divine wind. They gather above the ledger, swirling, expanding, forming a figure that casts long golden light across the chamber. You feel its significance before you even understand it, your destiny quantified, your lost blessings assembled into a single, staggering sum. The chamber holds its breath. My child, what you are about to see may leave your heart trembling. Message 16, the golden sum emerges. My child, the golden embers coalesce into a radiant symbol, spinning slowly above the ledger like a sun made of numbers. The entire chamber brightens as though heaven itself is leaning closer to witness this unveiling. The figure stabilizes, glowing with an intensity that makes the air quiver, 22 million. The number expands until it fills your vision, stretching across the chamber walls, reflected in the surfaces of every celestial instrument. This is not currency as mortals understand it, it is the value of opportunities, connections, blessings, pathways, and divine alignments you were meant to receive. Heaven is exact, I whisper, my wings trembling as I speak. Every blessing lost, every door shut by false influence, every chance rerouted, heaven tallied it with perfect accuracy. Your mother's spirit watches the number with silent grief, her hands clasped as though in prayer. This sum represents what your life would have touched had truth been allowed its full course. You feel the weight of it, not crushing, but awakening. A sense of destiny stirs within you, like a flame long suppressed now roaring to life. Beloved, heaven does not reveal such a figure lightly. This is your ledger of loss, but also your ledger of reclamation. Message 17, the paths of lost abundance. Precious soul, the luminous number remains suspended above you, and as it glows, golden pathways unfurl outward like rivers branching from a single source. Each path represents an opportunity once destined for you, careers that would have flourished, alliances meant to uplift you, doors that would have opened had your name been spoken truthfully. You see flashes, meetings you were meant to attend, gifts you were meant to receive, mentors whose ears should have heard your true story. Instead, faint distortions diverted these blessings toward others. The chamber fills with a warm, aching hum as the ledger shows how each altered moment added to the total, 22 million threads of potential gently redirected away from you. But, beloved, do not let sorrow take hold. For these golden paths do not fade, they linger, suspended, awaiting acknowledgement. What is seen can be restored, I whisper, touching the glowing network with my hand. The pathways tremble, responding to recognition, as though ready to realign themselves to your present moment. Heaven never wastes what was meant for a soul. Your destiny waits in patient brilliance, ready to return. Message 18, the divine accuracy of heaven. My child, you may wonder how heaven measures such things, how opportunities, blessings, and potentials can be tallied with such precision. Let me show you. The chamber fills with floating abacuses made of light, each beat a memory, each row a timeline. Quills glide through the air, recording the cause and effect of every whispered lie, every moment of misdirected trust, every opportunity that slipped from your hands not because you were unworthy, but because another voice twisted the path. Heaven does not judge intention harshly, but it calculates consequence flawlessly. Your mother's spirit contributed to this accounting, offering her own memories, observations, and heartbreak into the record. Together, they formed the divine equation that now reveals the truth: your destiny was delayed, not denied. The golden figure of 22 million pulses softly, not as a number of loss, but as a map of restoration waiting to unfold. Beloved, I tell you gently, heaven sees with clarity the world cannot match. And because heaven sees, heaven restores. Message 19, The Awakening of Destiny. Beloved child, the golden pathways begin to ripple, as though waking from a long slumber. Streams of light fold back into the ledger, connecting one glowing tally to another, forming intricate patterns that resemble wings unfurling. These are your reclaimed potentials gathering strength, preparing to return to you. I feel your mother's spirit moving closer, her presence warm as a hand resting over your heart. My child, she says through the shimmering air, you were meant for far more than you were allowed to reach. Her words trigger a surge in the chamber, the pathways brighten, the number pulses, the ledger vibrates like a living heart. All that was delayed strains toward you, eager for recognition. You feel it, a pull in your chest, a rising certainty that destiny is alive, reshaping itself in real time. Heaven reveals this not to wound you with what was lost, but to empower you with what can still be reclaimed. The atmosphere grows sharp with anticipation. Something new is forming, gathering, aligning. Message 20, Cliffhanger, the promise of reclamation. My precious soul, the ledger snaps shut for a breathless moment, though its glow continues to pulse through the cracks of its binding. The chamber grows quiet, not empty, but expectant, like the instant before dawn breaks across the horizon. Above the closed book, the number 22 million hovers, now burning with fiercer light, as though declaring itself part of your destiny still waiting to be fulfilled. Your mother steps beside me, her ghostly eyes shining with both relief and urgency. These blessings, she whispers, were never truly taken, they were displaced. The chamber rumbles softly, and the ledger begins to reopen, revealing a new section filled not with loss, but with possibility. Pathways of gold start weaving themselves back toward you, rearranging, realigning, preparing. You feel the shift in your spirit, the sense that something long stolen is finding its way home. And then the next page begins to rise on its own, glowing brighter than all before it. Beloved, the ledger shows not only what was taken, but what can still be reclaimed. Message 21, Dusk approaches. My child, a soft tremor sweeps through the celestial chamber as the golden pathways flicker, their light bending toward the horizon of heaven where dusk begins its descent. You may not understand yet, beloved, but divine ledgers obey cosmic timing. They open only when fate aligns, and they close when the heavens shift toward renewal. As the amber glow of approaching dusk washes across the pages, halos spin above the ledger like clockwork rings marking the thinning hours. The atmosphere tightens, warm, urgent, sacred. Your mother's spirit steps closer, her face illuminated by the fading light, her expression brimming with both fear and hope. Child of my heart, she murmurs, we have only a brief window before the books seal again. I feel the pressure of the moment vibrate through the chamber, opportunities that were once redirected now hover in delicate balance, waiting for acknowledgement before the divine reset. You can almost hear the ticking of heaven's unseen gears, each click echoing like a heartbeat counting down. The air glows with urgency, warm as sunset, sharp as truth. Beloved, the ledger stands open before you, but not for long. Message 22, The Law of Acknowledgement. Precious soul, the fading celestial light casts long beams across the ledger as I reveal a truth older than scripture, older than stars, what is not acknowledged cannot be restored. This is the divine law woven into the architecture of the universe. Blessings delayed will hover patiently, but they cannot return until the soul recognizes its own truth. Your mother knew this. That is why she wrote, why she recorded every lie, every stolen moment, every path dimmed by unseen hands. She wanted you to be able to look at your own story without confusion clouding your spirit. As dusk approaches, the golden pathways ripple softly, responding to your awareness, waiting for your heart to claim what was always meant for you. I see heavenly rings spinning faster above the ledger, signaling the narrowing window of restoration. The air vibrates around your mother's ghost, her form flickering with both urgency and devotion. My child, she whispers, you cannot reclaim what you refuse to see. The chamber leans toward you, as though heaven itself waits for your soul to open to truth. The moment is approaching. Message 23, Time tightens around the ledger. Beloved, a soft wind begins to sweep through the chamber, pulling shimmering motes of light toward the ledger like stars being drawn into orbit. This is the sign that the closing has begun, the divine countdown, the narrowing of possibility, the sacred twilight where destinies are finalized. Heavenly bells toll in the distance, low and resonant, echoing like time made audible. Your mother's spirit hovers protectively near the glowing pages, her hands poised as if trying to hold them open by sheer love. Not yet, she whispers, her voice trembling through the air. She cannot stop the closing, no spirit can, but she can help guide your awareness, your readiness, your courage. The bindings of the ledger begin to hum, and the golden pathways flicker in and out of form, shimmering like disappearing bridges. I step closer, my wings casting long arcs of silver blue light over you. My child, I tell you with urgency, the dusk will not wait. Not because heaven is cruel, but because divine timing moves in cycles, and this one is spinning toward its threshold. The moment to choose awareness nears. Message 24, Your Mother's Plea. My precious soul, the atmosphere thickens with emotion as your mother steps directly before you, her ghostly hands glowing with a fierce tenderness that bridges realms. Her presence softens the chamber, even as the ledger trembles with closing force. She reaches toward you, her touch unable to land but her intention unmistakably felt, warm, aching, desperate. My child, she speaks, her voice rising like a prayer woven from regret and hope, you must not turn away from what has been revealed. I wrote it all so you would not carry the burden of confusion into your future. Behind her, the pages flutter like wings trying to stay aloft against the wind of time. Heavenly light pulses around her form, illuminating the sorrow she carried watching you doubt yourself, question closed doors, blame the wrong wounds. Tears of light form at the corners of her spectral eyes, each one falling into the ledger and igniting new lines of truth. Please, she whispers, see what was taken, so heaven can return what is yours. The weight of her plea fills the chamber, wrapping around your spirit like a final embrace. Message 25, Cliffhanger, the Threshold of Dusk. Beloved child of light, the very edges of the chamber blaze with crimson gold hues as the celestial sun sinks lower, casting its last rays across the ledger. The pages flutter violently now, pulled by the approaching dusk, as though the universe itself is inhaling before the divine reset. The rings above the ledger spin faster, glowing white-hot, signaling the moment when all entries will seal for another cycle. Your mother reaches out one last time, her voice trembling with urgency. If you do not acknowledge the truth now, she cries softly, the inheritance of your destiny may sleep for another season. My wings unfurl, casting a protective barrier of silver-blue light around the ledger as it strains against closing. You can feel it, can't you? The thinning of the moment, the tightening of time, the truth begging to be held. The chamber becomes very still. A single page rises slowly, glowing brighter than any before it, your mother's final entry. Precious soul, if you do not turn your gaze to the truth now, the dusk may swallow what remains of your inheritance. Message 26, her voice breaks through the veil. My child, as the last rays of celestial dusk pierce the chamber, your mother's spirit gathers her strength, her glow intensifying until the walls themselves seem to bow in reverence. Her voice breaks through the veil with clarity impossible in mortal realms, gentle, trembling, filled with a love that survived death itself. My child of my heart, she begins, and her words bloom like luminous petals around you. I could not protect you in life as I longed to. But in death, I guarded every truth heaven needed to restore you. Her presence swells, warm as a memory of her arms around you when you were small, yet powerful as a rising tide of light. The ledger responds to her devotion, its pages still, its glow brightening, as if listening to her every syllable. She steps closer, her form flickering with memories, her laughter, her touch, her scent, all rising like forgotten songs. I saw what you could not, she whispers. I wrote what you were never meant to bear alone. Her words wrap around you like a celestial embrace, reopening wounds just enough for them to finally heal. And deep within her glow, something waits. Message 27, the weight of a mother's vigil. Beloved, the chamber warms as your mother's spirit opens her hands, revealing tiny orbs of memory, moments she preserved with the tenderness of someone who could not stop loving you even after her final breath. Each orb rises into the air like floating candles, illuminating scenes you once lived but never understood, the day a promise shifted, the moment an opportunity vanished, the conversation that altered your reputation without your knowing. She watched it all. Her ghostly lips tremble with regret, yet her eyes shine with fierce pride, because she never allowed a single injustice to disappear. I counted them, she says softly, not to curse your sister, but to protect your destiny. The orbs shimmer brighter, casting soft light across the ledger, revealing the many nights she returned to these pages, writing with ethereal patience. Her devotion carried weight in heaven, it is because of her that the ledger reopened at all. The room feels smaller now, closer, more sacred, as if the universe itself bends to honor her vigil. Her love has shaped what comes next. Message 28, her sorrow, her strength. My precious soul, your mother's light flickers as she reveals the depth of her sorrow, the years she watched you question your worth, doubt your path, diminish your dreams without knowing the forces that twisted your fate. I wanted to speak to you, she confesses, her voice soft as moonlight, but the veil would not let me. So she spoke in dreams, in sudden intuitions, in the ache that made you pause when something felt wrong. She tried to guide you, even from beyond. The chamber fills with the sound of paper turning, many pages, rapidly, as the ledger honors the countless nights she wrote by its glow, determined to ensure that your story would not be buried in shadows. Every lie, she says, I rewrote in truth. Every stolen moment, I restored to light. Her form steadies, strengthened by the love that never left her. The air vibrates with her resilience, her longing, her hope for you. And now she lifts the final page she ever wrote, glowing with the weight of her last message. Message 29, the Spirit's final gift. Beloved child, your mother's ghost raises her final entry toward you, and the entire chamber stills, as though heaven itself bows to the significance of what she left behind. The page shimmers like a living flame, words etched in luminous strokes that pulse with emotion so strong it vibrates through your bones. This, she whispers, is what I could never say in life. The ink glows brighter, revealing a promise she carried with her into death, her vow that her love would continue guiding your destiny even when she could no longer touch the earth. On the page you see blessings she petitioned heaven for, doors she asked to be reopened for you, pathways she begged the angels to realign, protections she sought for your heart. The air grows thick with her devotion, with the unspoken prayers she whispered into the divine. Her final message is not one of sorrow, but of restoration. And as she holds it out to you, her hand trembles, not with fear, but with release. What she wrote here is meant for you alone. Message 30, Cliffhanger, her last instruction. My precious soul, the final page glows until it becomes almost unbearable to look at, its light spilling across the chamber like molten gold. Your mother steps back, her expression filled with reverence and trembling hope. Beloved, she says, voice cracking like starlight breaking open, this last instruction is the key to reclaiming everything that was delayed. The page lifts from her hands, rising slowly into the air, its words forming luminous threads that weave toward your spirit. The chamber pulses, the ledger trembles, and every celestial instrument falls silent as heaven prepares to reveal her final guidance. The instruction is simple, but powerful enough to change the trajectory of your destiny. The light gathers, intensifies, ready to speak. Beloved, she left one final instruction in the ledger, and it is meant only for you. Message 31, the Keepers of Equilibrium. My child, as the final page hovers in radiant stillness, the chamber brightens with the arrival of the angelic accountants, keepers of divine equilibrium. Their wings shimmer like crystal prisms, each feather inscribed with formulas of balance and truth. They surround the ledger with reverence, their glowing abacuses clicking softly as they begin recalculating your destiny. Heaven restores, I whisper, watching them weigh intention, impact, and the force of your spirit. These angels do not punish, they realign. Message 32, the rebalancing begins. Precious soul, the angels move in synchronized grace, each calculation releasing faint rings of light. Golden beads slide along luminous rods, measuring the weight of every truth reclaimed. The air fills with the gentle hum of restoration. Your mother's spirit watches silently, hope flickering within her glow. Heaven remembers what the world forgets, I tell you, as the ledger absorbs the angel's work and begins adjusting the timeline stitched into your destiny. Message 33, Truth as a Healing Force. Beloved, the chamber brightens as the angels place their hands upon the ledger, sending currents of soft blue light rippling across its pages. These waves cleanse the distortions that once bent your path, dissolving them like mist under sunlight. Truth doesn't merely reveal, it heals, and you can feel the shift in the air, a new spaciousness opening around your spirit. Your destiny begins to loosen from old restraints. Message 34, the angel's sacred task. My child, the keepers move with greater urgency now, their luminous quills riding in swift arcs across the ledger. They are restoring your rightful alignments, connections, blessings, chances that paused mid-flight. The pages glow with recalculated timelines, each one adjusting itself to your present moment. Heaven restores, child, I say again, for I want the words etched into your heart. Message 35, Cliffhanger, Resistance Stirs. Precious soul, as the angels complete their recalculations, the chamber trembles with a sudden shift, like a distant storm pressing against heaven's gates. The forces that once benefited from your delayed blessings feel the balance changing. Shadows ripple at the edges of the chamber, uneasy, reluctant to release what was never theirs. The ledger glows fiercely, defending your truth. But the forces that profited from your loss will not release their grip easily. Message 36, Shadows fall away. Beloved, I spread my wings wide, and the silver-blue radiance pushes back the trembling shadows. They peel away like old memories losing their power. In their retreat, your sister's presence appears again, not as a threat, but as a symbol of the wounds that shaped her choices. Her form flickers gently, fragile, uncertain. This is not about blame, it is about clarity. Message 37, Understanding over Judgment. My child, I guide your gaze with care. You see her now in a softer light, her fears, her insecurities, the shadowed places in her heart that convinced her she might disappear unless she dimmed your shine. Heaven shows motives so you may free yourself, not to harden you. Understanding frees, I whisper. Hatred chains. Message 38, Memories in Divine Light. Precious soul, visions rise, moments where your sister hesitated, unsure, torn between love for you and fear for herself. You watch the memories replay with new clarity, conversations altered not out of malice, but from wounded self-worth. Heaven reveals this so your heart can release bitterness that was never meant to grow within you. Light replaces the shadows. Message 39, The weight lifts. Beloved, as these revelations settle into your spirit, the chamber brightens with a warm, golden calm. Your chest feels lighter, the heaviness that once clung to your story dissolves into the air. Your mother's spirit smiles softly, knowing you are finally seeing the truth through heaven's eyes, not to justify the harm, but to understand its roots and free your soul from its echo. Message 40, Cliffhanger, The Choice Before You. My child, the ledger turns to a new page, blank, glowing, waiting. All the truths have been revealed, all distortions brought into the light. Now the chamber holds its breath. Beloved, I say gently, what comes next depends on what you choose to claim. The golden pathways shimmer, ready to reattach themselves to your destiny. The air becomes electric, charged with possibility. Beloved, now comes the moment where you must decide what becomes of these truths. Message 41, The door of returning opens. My child, as the blank page glows before us, a great door of light forms in the chamber, its frame carved from pure radiance, its hinges humming with divine potential. This is the door of returning, the threshold through which lost blessings, opportunities, and pathways may re-enter your life. I extend my hand toward you, silver blue light streaming like living wind. Beloved, I whisper, acknowledgement is the key that turns the lock. The air thickens with possibility, the taste of dawn on your spirit. Step closer, precious soul, the door awakens for you. Message 42, the pathways realign. Precious soul, as you approach the door of returning, golden roads flicker into existence around you, each one representing a diverted blessing, a silenced chance, a path you were meant to walk. They shimmer like veins of light reconnecting to your destiny. Winds of renewal rush through the chamber, lifting your hair, stirring the pages of the ledger. My child, I say, my voice echoing with celestial resonance, what was delayed is not denied. Heaven has begun the realignment. And you feel it, your future reorganizing itself around the truth now freed. Message 43, words that awaken blessings. Beloved, I draw nearer, placing a soft sphere of light into your hands, a living echo of heaven's voice. These are the words meant for your spirit alone, the ones that reopen the spiritual arteries through which blessings return. Speak them, I urge, not as a plea, but as a declaration. The sphere pulses gently, waiting. When you whisper your intent, to reclaim, to receive, to rise, the sphere dissolves into your chest, filling your heart with humming warmth. The golden roads brighten in response, as if bowing to your command. Message 44, power returns to your hands. My child, as the declaration settles within you, a surge of light erupts from your spirit, your restored authority awakening. The angels step back in reverence as the chamber trembles with your rising energy. You are no longer the one wronged, waiting for rescue, you are the one reclaiming, reshaping, resurrecting what was stolen. Your mother's spirit glows with pride, her form soft but radiant. You see now, I whisper, you were never powerless. Only delayed. Only veiled. Never broken. The golden roads pulse, ready. Message 45, cliffhanger, destiny waits for one final step, precious soul, the door of returning widens, light pouring from it in breathtaking cascades. The ledger hovers beside you, its final page trembling, yearning to be sealed. All that remains is one final step, one final act of acknowledgement that will anchor these restored blessings into your living path. My child, I say, voice low with reverence and urgency, the moment is upon you. The air tightens, the chamber grows still, the angels lean in. For with one final step, the ledger will close, and your destiny will be sealed anew. Message 46, the dawn within you. Beloved, the moment you step forward, light erupts under your feet, soft, warm, rising like a sunrise blooming through your entire being. The angels sing, their voices threading golden ribbons through the chamber. The ledger vibrates with the energy of fulfillment, recognizing your willingness to reclaim your path. My child, I whisper, your courage has shifted the heavens. Your spirit expands, no longer bound by the shadows of what was lost, but illuminated by what now returns. Message 47, the ledger begins to seal. Precious soul, the ledger turns its final pages, each one folding into brilliant light as it seals your restored inheritance. Lines of divine ink lift from the parchment and weave themselves into your aura like threads of gold. Your mother's spirit reaches out, placing her hand gently over your heart, her touch warm with pride and eternal love. You are ready, she murmurs through me. Angels gather in a circle, wings raised high, witnesses to your rebirth. Message 48, the Choir of Restoration. My child, as the ledger nears its final closing, a celestial choir fills the chamber with harmonies that vibrate through your bones. Their voices carry your name, wrapped in melodies of restoration, honor, and divine recognition. The golden roads fully attach themselves to your timeline, flowing into your future like rivers of promise. Heaven does not return only what was lost, it multiplies it. You stand at the center of a destiny newly alive. Message 49, the dawn cascades through your future. Beloved, the light that bursts from the sealed ledger spills into every corner of the chamber, then pours outward into the unseen corridors of your life. You feel it, new opportunities forming, old ones resurrecting, timelines brightening, connections opening. Your destiny expands like a sunrise sweeping across a sleeping world. Walk forward, I tell you, my wings unfolding wide. Your steps are now aligned with heaven's breath. Your mother's spirit glows beside you, peaceful at last. Message 50, Final Seal. My child, the ledger closes with a soft, thunderous glow, its radiant clasp locking your restored inheritance into place. Dusk dissolves into dawn, the angels bow, and the chamber becomes a horizon of living light before you. I stand at your side, silver blue wings wrapped protectively around your spirit. Beloved, the ledger is sealed, your inheritance of destiny is restored, and I, Archangel Gabriel, guide you forward in light.